Welcome, everybody, to the latest edition of the Amateur Theory podcast. This week, we are talking about, I think, our most current film yet.
Which is Sonic... actually came out this year. So.
Yeah, right? It came out on video this March, and that is Sonic the Hedgehog. You know, we did an episode on Mario Bros, and we're a believer in equality here, so we had to have both sides of this one. But yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog. What did you think of it?
Well, okay. I guess I liked it better than I thought I would. But that's the thing. I didn't go into this movie with high expectations.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well, first of all, I'm not the hugest Sonic fan in general. I played the Genesis games growing up, and I like those. But that's about it. Nothing else in the Sonic universe or lexicon am I really that into or familiar with.
Yeah, fair enough. I also grew up really liking the games. I was more into the old Sonic than I am into old Mario. But as far as the extended Sonic fandom, the infamous extended the fan fics and the fan art and stuff and all that. That's a little bit much for me. I understand that I'm sure we might get some people saying not all the community is all weird, and that's probably true, but there's certainly a contingent that is a little.
Yeah. But and I mean, even if that is your thing, that's fine.
Yeah,
it's just
you do you.
But we are not Sonic fans. We played some of the games, I think, and that's about it.
But I was I think my expectations were not quite as low as yours, because before this came out, I'd already read the reviews and kind of got the synopsis of how people felt, and it seemed to be slightly above average family film, not great, not terrible, and that's kind of what we got. How do you think it compares to Super Mario Bros. As far as, because I have some thoughts on that.
Okay, well, I actually like this more than Mario Bros. I think.
Really?
Well,
so this. Okay, let me tell you my thoughts. My thoughts were that this is the better adaptation, for sure.
Oh yes, certainly. Well, this is a Sonic the Hedgehog
movie. Yeah, right.
You can just turn it on, start watching, and you know it's Sonic immediately.
Right.
Whereas the Mario Brothers movie, that's, I don't know, man.
Cyberpunk.
You can call it Super Mario Bros, but is it?
Right. But in that sense, the both movies I think were of equal quality, just in terms of they both had decent acting actually, and they both.
I really like Jim Carrey in this one.
Yeah, I liked
basically being '90s Jim Carrey. I think that's just the direction he got. He's you know what you did back then? Yeah, just do that.
And I actually liked Ben Schwartz's Sonic, and I liked the lead actor guy. He was
I don't know his name.
I don't know the actor's name. But he actually had a pretty good performance too, I thought. So all the main characters in this were good. But I felt that about Mario Bros. Too. I actually liked the acting in that as well. Even though it was... Actually, I don't even know if it was cheesier. Those are both pretty cheesy movies. But by virtue of this being a good adaptation, meant that there was less interesting ideas. But it's hard to be more interesting than cyberpunk time travel dinosaurs. So I guess...
I will admit, Mario Bros. Probably has more interesting ideas. I think Sonic is a more focused movie. It seemed the execution was more what's the word? It was just executed better. This, it is a lot more generic, I think, but they knew what they wanted to do, kind of. Whereas with the Mario Brothers movie, it kind of felt all over the place at times. They weren't sure what they were doing.
So, talking about knowing what they were doing, we should probably mention the original design, because that's probably the most famous thing about this movie. You had the Uncanny Valley version first, and then the redesign later. I think that if they had kept the original design, even if everything about this movie stayed exactly the same, I would come out liking it a whole lot less. Just because, like, I think it would be too distracting to see that, like, hedgehog man
This
creature.
looks so bizarre.
Yeah.
Like, and it's so weird that that's what they started off with. And I realized that, like, because the negative reception it got, like the creators actually relented and were like, okay, we'll redesign it. We hear you. Which
probably for the best, yeah.
Yeah, probably for the best. I kind of feel a little sorry for the animators because you know they saw the original design and they were like, "Are you sure this is what you want?" And the heads are just like, "Just fucking do it, whatever." And they're like, "All right." And then they did it, and then they come back. It's like, "Well, we actually need you to redo it now." It's like, God damn it, the animators. They're probably like, "We told you, man."
Right. But I guess let's delve into the plot a little bit. So the general thing is that Sonic is an alien in this one, and he has like these superpowers to go super speed, which puts him in danger in his home planet, so he has to escape. And he has these, the rings. If you're familiar with Sonic, you know all about the rings. But the rings in this one are portals to other worlds. So he gets these portals.
Is that just a device for this movie? Because in the video game,
I mean, in the
video game, I just know you just collect.
They're like their lives, right? Like, yeah, you get hit and rings come out.
I
have never heard of anything with the caveat that I've not played all the Sonic games, so maybe this is, as far as I know, it's only for the movie.
We've only played the good ones, right? Like,
I've played some of the bad ones. I've played.
Did you play
super
Sonic 06?
I played a demo of that just to check it out, but I never owned that game. But I did. Let's see. I played Shadow the Hedgehog, and that's a bad game. That's a really bad game. But anyway, as far as I know, I don't think that's like part of the games. I don't think. But so that it transports to a small town USA called Green Hills, which is another like reference from those old games. And the basic problem is that Sonic is lonely. Like, he wants to make friends, but he knows that the last time he like got too familiar with people, it put him in danger. So he's trying to isolate himself. And eventually, this culminates in him having kind of like an episode where he's
kind of like a small meltdown.
Yeah.
And he gives off like a huge like energy surge, I guess.
Right.
Which
like he's
the U.S. government.
Himself.
Yeah.
And then but then he like, starts just spinning around, running the bases really, really quickly. And then that sounds like some kind of shock wave. But yeah.
And the U.S. government takes notice of it.
Right.
And
so now he's they're coming down to investigate, which
they send in Jim Carrey as a
Dr.
Robotnik.
And I would agree with you. I think his performance in this is pretty good. Like, it's zany. It totally is like 90s Jim Carrey, and it fits the character. I mean, like, Dr. Robotnik is ridiculous, right? He's a man with a big mustache, and like he's a crazy man, and so like, you need a crazy actor to play him. And I think Jim Carrey killed it. Like, he really did a good job.
Yeah.
And so then Sonic teams up. Eventually, the main character like shoots him with a sun gun.
Yeah, tranquilizer.
And that puts Sonic in danger. It makes it so that he loses his rings to transport away. Because that was originally the plan. He was going to like transport out of there into another planet. But because of being shot with the stun gun, something happens where he loses all the rings.
Yeah, he's about to transport because he throws up a ring and he, I think, sees San Francisco because that's what the character's shirt is wearing. And I guess that's what Sonic says as he like mumbles before he passes out. And the bag of rings happens to fall through the portal into San Francisco, which now that I'm describing it sounds kind of convoluted, but it seemed to make sense while I was watching.
It works in the movie, because I mean, because it doesn't sound very good when you're explaining it like this. But this movie actually does a pretty decent job of like showing you the weird things. You just kind of get it. Like you don't need someone to explain like this is what this does. This is what the ring does, right? You see it in action at the beginning of the movie, and so then when it happens again, it's like, oh, okay, like I get how this works. And I guess we should talk about our hero. I forgot the guy's name, not the actor's name, but the character's name. I forgot both.
Yeah.
But he is a police officer, which is probably a little more controversial now than it would have been when this movie
Than
came
it
out.
was a couple months ago.
Hashtag defund the police, or defund the police, demilitarize the police, like actually. But that's not what we're here to talk about. Sonic the Hedgehog. So anyway, so for the purpose of the movie, he's our protagonist, and he is the sheriff of this local town, which he has kind of like an affection for, but he also really wants to leave. He's trying to go to the San Francisco Police Department, which he did. He gets accepted the job. And the rest of the film, as he meets Sonic, is he basically puts himself into danger for protecting Sonic, from the government. And it's their adventures. And on the way, he kind of like learns, there's kind of like Sonic makes a friend because he was really lonely. So that kind of plot hole is resolved, and then the police officer realizes that he wanted to be home all along. He doesn't need to go to the big city, and so everyone's happy in the end. And then they set it up for a sequel because Dr. Robotnik is he's like trapped on this other world and he's going crazy.
He's like even more crazy than he already was. And a new character shows up at the very end,
That's
just,
right. Let's keep that one a
just
secret.
for that sequel baiting.
Right. Which I think has already been announced. Like they're definitely making a sequel.
Oh yeah, this movie I'm pretty sure made gangbusters. So yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think as of now it is the number 2 movie of 2020. So like this is actually like a pretty successful film. So yeah, and if a sequel comes out, it'll probably be like this, where I'm not gonna see it in theaters, but like I might wait for it to come to streaming in some way, and if it's there, I might be like, oh, the first one wasn't so bad. I might check it out.
So yeah, so while I was watching this film, I was thinking like, I'm obviously not the target audience for this, but I'm thinking because it's like a family type thing, right? So if I was seeing this, maybe it's because I'm like babysitting for someone, or like I'm gonna pretend I have an older sibling and I'm babysitting their like nephew or something. Like if I took them to see this movie, would I have enjoyed it? And I like would have, because
I mean,
I wasn't
even
expecting much.
outside of that context, even being in my late 20s, watching Sonic the Hedgehog, I can't even lie. I did like it. I did enjoy it. There was moments that legitimately made me laugh. Like I said, like I think the characters are all pretty appropriately like kind of zany and funny.
And
there's some quips.
Like Ben Schwartz is Sonic, like it
totally works. Like I wouldn't have thought of him if I was thinking of like who I wanted to cast, but like it totally works.
He's like high energy but not obnoxious.
Yeah.
Like I actually found him rather endearing because
same.
Just growing up with a sibling who was like super ADHD, it kind of reminded me of that a little bit.
Yeah, because he has this thing where he is, I think like the movie even like alludes to him being kind of annoying. Like he's kind of an annoying guy because he just talks a million miles a minute and like, but at the same time he's such a genuine person, right? Yeah. And all he does is he just wants to have fun. He just wants to have fun. He wants to enjoy life, and like, can you really hate someone for that? Like that's, so it comes off as very you're rooting for him for sure.
No, yeah, at the start of this film, you can actually like get a sense of his loneliness. I think the creators did a good job of making you empathizing or sympathizing with this character.
Yeah, and then the lead guy is also he's very like typical action hero type, but like he does that well. Like he is appropriately brave and saves the day at the right moments. He does have some kind of like inner turmoil in terms of like, should I help this thing? Should I not?
Yeah, because at first he doesn't want to, like really stick around with Sonic, but
which I mean makes sense. Because he basically puts his job on the line, but also he might go to like jail or die. Like who knows? The stakes are high, but he sacrifices everything to help out, and then eventually they form a bond. They become friends, and the friendship is pretty like it seems fairly genuine, which I would imagine is hard to do for CGI movies, because like you have to emote friendship to a green screen, but he actually does it pretty well. Like it really does come off as genuine. So props to this anonymous actor who we can't remember.
I wait. I should just look him up real quick because I know I've seen him in other movies.
Yeah, he's like a fairly famous actor. I can't. I'm blanking.
James Marsden. There we go.
Okay.
He was a Cyclops in the original X-Men movies.
Oh yeah, that's right, he was. And then I liked the girlfriend too. Their relationship seemed nice, and they got some humor out of that too, which was fun, especially with the sister. So,
yeah,
which was also a really funny character. Like most of the people, and even like the assistant to Dr. Robotnik, everyone in this movie was like pretty well cast.
Yeah, it's interesting because you could have easily made like everyone like too over the top in a movie like this, but everyone's actually like fine. Like
they ride the line so well.
Yeah, but they never reach into annoying territory.
No, yeah, this movie is I think charming is a good word for it. It's it's not like we're heaping a lot of praise on this movie right now, but like
it is very generic. Like the script does just feel like, oh well, we have to write, a kids action movie. Like, oh, do we have one in the vaults? Okay, let's get that.
But not in the sense that like Super Mario Bros. Was, in that like they took. It's clear that the person who wrote the script had an understanding of the character in the games. Like it wasn't just as a foreign, like let's just have a movie and then call it Sonic, right? This is a Sonic movie.
Yeah. And
so like if you are a huge fan, like want to see Sonic on the light screen, like it does it for you, right?
Yeah. If you're a Sonic fan, I think you would like this movie. Like
yeah, like I think it does a decent job of again, like I don't know. Like all the Sonic lore, but I think I don't know any of it. I think like when you think of the character, it had a lot of like little nods. Like he likes chili dogs, is like definitely a thing that I recall. And then he's just kind of like a little snarky, a little glib, but still like a fun-loving kind of guy. And like they come across with that pretty well.
Yeah. There's plenty of scenes with him like just running around all over the place. I kind of do like the character is so fast that everything's just like frozen or in super slow motion.
Yeah. Yeah, that was actually because if they kept on using that over and over, I think it would have gotten a little tired. But they used it just enough times to have like during the bar fight, for example, was really cool.
Yeah.
He was like doing, and then they sped it all up, and it was a cool effect. It was a cool effect. And then the Dr. Robotnik inventions were also really cool. I loved that car that kept on getting smaller. Like they would like destroy the car and there'd be like a little mini car in the car. And literally it got to the point where it was like a little bug, but it was still going. It just didn't end. Like that stuff's just kind of creative. Like it was a lot of fun. So yeah, overall, I can't say that I dislike this movie. I'll give it props.
I feel like, at least for me, we are giving it a lot of praise, but how much of that is because of, well, I was not expecting much. So the fact that I was so pleasantly surprised, definitely like colors my reception of the film. Like,
well, part of it is that you hear the movie Sonic the Hedgehog, and it just makes you want to roll your eyes a little bit.
Yeah,
like it's just one of those things. Like you can't. And like the trailers to this movie, I remember seeing them and remember thinking like this looks really bad. Like I had very, very low expectations, and that didn't change until I read the reviews, which the reviews are saying a lot of the same things we're saying. And so that's why my expectations were not too high, not too low. They were just right.
Yeah. Well, because I watched the initial trailers too, and I wasn't super impressed. And then, and also there was just that original design, which was
really bad.
Really bizarre. And I feel like by the time like it came out that they like changed the design and everything, like I was just like, I don't really care,
Yeah. This was it was, we kind of joked about, we did Mario, so we have to do Sonic. That actually kind of was part of our decision process on this. It was like, well, we did one, let's just do the other, like, whatever. But yeah, I don't regret
You know
watching
what? I'm
this.
glad we did decide to watch it.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's the story is unmemorable, but the characters are memorable.
Yeah.
Like, I think like this is gonna go, especially if there's a sequel and it's also decent. This might go like amongst one of Jim Carrey's more like well-received roles, right? Like people will remember this one, be like, oh yeah, he did that. No, it's pretty good. Or I could see that.
No, definitely, because
I actually read an interview with him. Well, I read an interview. I read with the Wikipedia article, and it included an interview that he said about the movie, which was that he really, like, Jim Carrey, like, really liked the role. Like, he liked playing Dr. Robotnik, and he's like excited for a sequel because he wants to see how far he can take the character.
Okay, yeah, you could definitely tell he was like having fun with his performance. Like, yeah, and the energy like really was shown through. So yeah, if a sequel does come out, I probably have higher expectations for that now that I've seen this.
Which may or
and
may
knowing
not
that
work
Jim
out.
Carrey's gonna come back and everything, if he does, hopefully.
Yeah, and I mean, even if the rest of the things had been awful, I think there are definitely people who would watch this just to see Jim Carrey. And luckily, the rest of the stuff wasn't awful. But just Jim Carrey's, Jim Carrey can carry a movie. He's one of those superstars that he hasn't done it in a while, I think. I can't think of a big movie he's been in recently. But I mean, like
Actually.
he for sure in the 90s and even like the early 2000s, like he would carry movies himself. Like you would just watch a movie for Jim Carrey.
Yeah, it's a Jim Carrey movie.
Right. And so like even if nothing else interests you, if you're a Jim Carrey fan, like this is worth checking out. But yeah, I guess this is gonna be another
Sonic
one of our
the Hedgehog. Surprisingly good. If you're a Sonic fan, definitely check it out. And if you've like played a Sonic game before, I could kind of recommend it to you.
It's the kind of thing where like if you're not a huge, either I'd say if you're a big Sonic fan or if you're a big Jim Carrey fan, like this would be an easy recommendation. If you are neither of those things, and like I probably wouldn't go out of my way to be like, dude, you have to watch this. Like I'm not gonna bring it up. If you ask me, like, do you think I should watch this? I'll be like, yeah, why not? Like it's not so bad. Again, I think the reason we were heaping so much praise in this movie is because I'd imagine a lot of people listening probably have low expectations.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people like were expecting Sonic to be like the greatest movie of all time or something. I don't know how many people were thinking that. It just as far as like video game adaptations go, they're mostly considered bad.
Like, what are some of the good ones? Like, I can think of this.
Detective Pikachu, which
Detective.
was that was another movie where the story is probably even worse than this one, but the computer effects were like pretty cool.
Well, Ryan Reynolds carried that movie.
And yeah, Ryan Reynolds. It's kind of like Jim Carrey, but with Ryan Reynolds. Like, if you want to watch like PG Deadpool, that's kind of what it was. But and it actually worked for that one. I didn't hate it. And besides that, there's like there's Mario. There's
I have a soft spot for the Mortal Kombat movie, but then again, like that's because I watched it when I was like 8 or 9. So
that always helps. Yeah, you can kind of look past some things. I think there was like a Prince of Persia movie. But
I think Jake Gyllenhaal was in that. I never saw that. It didn't look good.
And yeah, besides that, I can't really think of too much else that's gone through it. But I wouldn't mind seeing more. Like if this proves that can be successful, I think like a Halo movie would be cool. Maybe like a Metroid movie. I know they're making a new Mario movie, which is being made by Sony, I think. So
really?
We'll see how that goes. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And then yeah, there's a couple things I think could be good. There's that Castlevania show, which is
Oh,
not
the
terrible.
Netflix show. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's I didn't think the newest season was the best season of that, but like I've been enjoying it. I think it's a decent show. So
I've only seen a couple episodes, and just which I enjoyed. I don't know, other things happened, and I
Sure.
just never got around to watching the rest of it.
But we've kind of strayed a little far from Sonic the Hedgehog, I guess. But you know, it's related. Video game adaptations. It's
So
just,
if you like Castlevania, you'll like the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. That's basically what we're trying to say.
that's what we're saying. That's really what we're saying here. But okay, I guess I'll leave it at any final thoughts.
Said about everything I wanted to, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, thank you for checking us out. If you are listening to us on YouTube, give us a like, give us a subscribe. If you're listening to us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, we're on a lot of different platforms. Give us a follow so that you'll see the newest episodes. We try to do this weekly. And till next time.
Till next time.